We are less than 72 hours away from the 2025 NFL trade deadline coming at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, November 4th. And we are excited about it. While under different circumstances from last year when Zadarius Smith's name was in the mix, Myles Garrett name was kind of in the mix, but it was more about Max Crosby than anything else. And we had lost Aiden Hutchinson for the year after that devastating leg injury. Well, those seems like light years ago that we were dealing with that. And now we are moving on to potentially another trade at the NFL deadline. And ironically, edge rusher is one of those things. But I just saw from, first of all, Diana Rossini. I might have to sign up to The Athletic because the information is coming out today, and it's crazy. Pretty much for the first time, maybe ever, all of my videos are referencing something that she said, which is never happened before. But she's got all the best information today, and I wanted to bring you guys this news because I am a little perplexed as to why we would be doing this. And that is the Detroit Lions are reportedly interested in potentially trading for a safety. This is coming from her Twitter account. Says team shopping list ahead of the November 1st trade deadline per sources. You've got the Seahawks looking for an offensive line, the Jaguars looking for a defensive tackle, and the Steelers are looking for a wide receiver. But you see up top, I saved the best for last. The Lions are looking at defensive line and safety. Now, let me just do this real quick. You know I got a toot-toot, right? I got a toot-toot, chugga-chugga, my own horn. And that is because I have been saying for pretty much the entire season that we needed somebody on the defensive line, specifically an edge rusher. Now, while Diana didn't specify edge rusher, that is what we are looking for, an edge rusher. I have never fully believed in Mohamed. I don't think that the Detroit Lions are even looking at somebody on the offensive line. We have Taylor Decker. Brad and Dan seem to believe in him, even though he had a miserable last game. He's probably the best that we're going to do. We've got those two rookies out there. And while we don't have the same line as last year, to be honest with you, I think the Detroit Lions are supremely confident in that offensive line. And while Dan Campbell says that they're good and they don't need anybody, they may not trade for anybody at the trade deadline, the sources are coming out. We already reported about Jalen Phillips. We reported about Trey Hendrickson a couple of times now as the trade deadline is approaching. And now we're bringing up safety. And I'm saying to myself, why would we do this? We've got the only thing that I could see is whatever is going on with Kirby Joseph is more serious than initially thought because Brian Branch, not injured, served his suspension. He's back. You've got our two starting cornerbacks. One is on IR. One is probably going to play tomorrow. Eventually, DJ Reed will be back. And then that'll be, and Amik Robertson is good to go. So that only leaves by process of elimination, Kirby Joseph. And while the backup players played phenomenal last game, maybe the Detroit Lions are looking for more. But to trade for a safety, in my opinion, when it's one in particular out there that we could probably see what he's about, I just don't understand why we would do this. Now, I did get some more info about that the Lions are looking at a guy that you guys were talking about early on, which is Reek Woolen. And he's probably going to go for a cheaper price. The word on the street is that it's either him or Trey. That's the word on the street. So we'll see how that. Now, you know which direction I want to go in because I think that not only with our starters, but what our depth showed us last game, that we are good to go when it comes like the defensive line, specifically the defensive end, is a more pressing need. There's nothing wrong with having Mohamed back up. We are allegedly getting Ahmed Hassanin back. That'll be a great depth piece as well. So there's nothing wrong with that. As far as Trey Hendrickson in his back, I think he's going to be fine. But again, according to Diana Rossini, we are in the market, our shopping list. Now, you could at the trade deadline, specifically via trade. And I don't know why we would do this. I mean, if we were going to be honest with you, I would have rather brought back C.J. Gardner-Johnson than trade for one. But there's a guy that I would rather the Detroit Lions bring back instead of signing one or trading for one. And that is if we were to sign free agent safety Justin Simmons. He's still on the market. After the NFL trade deadline, of course, you cannot trade anymore, but you also are going to have to abide by waiver. All the people that go through get cut from teams, whether you're a vested veteran or a, rookie player, whatever the situation, you're going to have to go through the waiver wire. Odell Beckham did it a few years ago. Josh Reynolds did it the same year. Once that happens, it doesn't matter how many years you have. Even Calais Campbell had to go through waivers if he was released from the Miami Dolphins. He didn't get released. He didn't have to deal with it. With where we are, we're going to be at the bottom of that priority list. Us, the Colts, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Eagles, we're going to be the last people to get anybody. Now, again, the good news is if you claim somebody off waivers, you also have to absorb that contract, if I'm not mistaken. So that could be a deterrent to somebody of quality dropping down to us. But just like we saw Josh Reynolds get claimed by the Jacksonville Jaguars, who were early in the waiver wire last year, he essentially did nothing for them. They wind up not even sticking to him, and he signed with the New York Jets in the offseason. I don't know if we're going to get our hands on anybody. So for me, I'm like, why not just go get Justin Simmons? Now, apparently, there's a reason he's not signed right now, and that could be either it's probably a lot to do with his choice as well. Maybe he wants the bag. And these players, no matter how good you are, there comes a point where you just gotta eat humble pie, right? Justin Simmons does not have a Super Bowl. You're trying to compete for a Super Bowl. You need to humble yourself, potentially. I don't know if that's, maybe he's got no cause. I have no idea. Maybe everything has to line up, but I could see, I would much rather the Detroit Lions go in this regard. Go get a free agent, right? That you don't have to give up any capital for, especially at that position. Because again, I'm not going to say set. I mean, depth is always a good thing, but we've got, essentially, we're not good, you know what I mean? But as far as resources, we don't have to put any draft capital into the secondary, if you were to ask me. Don't forget that last year, we brought in a safety that had familiarity with, I believe it was Aaron Glenn. Remember, right around this time, maybe a little after the trade deadline, somewhere in mid to late November, we brought in Jamal Adams, who saw a little bit of time with us. So bringing in a safety, bringing in a free agent who had been on the couch. I don't remember if I think Jamal was released from the Titans and then had been on the couch for a while. He now is with the Raiders back with Pete Carroll. I don't know what he's doing over there, but he really didn't do anything for our team. But I'd much rather do that. So to bring somebody off the couch is not completely unlike the Detroit Lions. Remember a few years ago, I want to say it was 2023. It was either 3 or 2 that we brought in Bruce Irvin and Tyson Alu. So here is a look. Let's take a look at Justin Simmons. He was a 3rd round pick in 2016, picked 98 overall. In 2024, has not seen any game time. He has not. I would know if he has been on a team. He has not. He has not been on a team. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say this earlier in the video. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is part of the Chicago Bears. So another snake move. Again, getting our reject players and our reject coaches. I cannot stand him. And, I can't stand him. But a win tomorrow would really help the Detroit Lions acquire Trey Hendrickson even more. So we'll see. 36 solo tackles. He had 2 interceptions in 2024 and 7 passes defended. If we look at his overall stats, as far as I know, essentially Justin Simmons in his long career spent the majority of his career with the Denver Broncos. And then it was a surprise to me. Maybe it wasn't a surprise overall, but he was released by the Denver Broncos and then signed with the Atlanta Falcons in the 2024 offseason. Played 16 games, had 62 total tackles, 36 solo, and 28 assisted, and had those 2 interceptions. Again, has not played this year. If you look at the history, relatively healthy. His lowest season was his second to last year in Denver. He played 12 games. His first 2 years of his career, played 13 of a 16-game season, and then played 16 last year with the Atlanta Falcons, missing just that 1 game. So for me, This is a guy that I would say Lions go get, especially if you are in the kind of the market of, if you are even thinking about trading for one. He would be a good Kirby Joseph fill-in, is what I remember. He was kind of a ball hawk guy, not really a hard-hitting guy like a Quandre Diggs or something like that. He was more of a ball hawking guy. So I would definitely want them to do that. That would be my first thing, is to go get a free agent safety. Speaking of free agent safeties, what is it looking like right now? And I want you to keep this in mind. I keep stressing this because it's important. The next 72 hours are going to be tremendously important for this franchise, as every franchise in the NFL. But my concern is the Detroit Lions, because after that, again, we are going to be bottom 5 in the waiver wire. So unless we are dealing with a situation where the person doesn't want to absorb the contract, as a matter of fact, you do absorb the contract if you claim somebody off waivers. Yes. So, because we did it with Josh Reynolds, then we're not going to get anybody of substantial quality. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to have to dig in off the couch from the convenience stores, right? Justin Simmons could be the top of the food chain when it comes to that. Let's look at their 16, according to Spot Track, available safeties, free agent safeties heading into the NFL trade deadline. Marcus Williams being at the top of the list. Now, I'm thinking of Marcus Peters. So you have Marcus Williams, Justin Simmons, Jordan Whitehead, Jordan Poyer. I think he is on the Miami Dolphins, and I thought Marcus may either sign with somebody or was going to sign with someone. And if we go look at this, I mean, there's nobody here that really stands out to me. There's really nobody that stands out. Now, if we click on Justin Simmons, see kind of what we would be looking for as far as finances, I think he would be a pretty good deal, because in 2024, he signed the 1-year deal, free agent, 1 year for $7.5 million. And that was for a complete season. So we're at half that. I think you can get this guy for about $3 million. $3 million, you could sign him for a 9-game rental, and he probably won't get you a compensatory pick next year. But if I'm the Detroit Lions, this is the first direction I go in. I mean, if you want to look at Marcus May and those other guys, do that. But I would much rather you do that. And of course, what I want doesn't matter at all. I mean, I do know that, but I would much rather you invest in, if you're going to give some draft capital, that you don't use it on the safety. I mean, because our secondary room is pretty good, especially when it comes to the starters. And if you are going to, I mean, look what we did. We haven't even addressed like Millette and what's the guy, Whiteside, right? So we had some legit dudes come up, the Legion of Whom is what they were calling them, and made an impact against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So see if you can lure Justin Simmons to the Detroit Lions, pay him $3 million for a 9-game, rental, and then it is what it is. Kirby would be great. He could come in and spell Kirby if he went down or whatever the situation. But at this point in Justin Simmons' career, he's got to know where he is. He's got to know where he is. I think he started in Atlanta. I think it was opposite Jesse Bates, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong with that. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Would you want the Detroit Lions to trade for a safety? I mean, that kind of came out of nowhere. Or would you rather them use their resources on another position? It doesn't have to be a defensive line, but it could be any position that you want. You know which one I'm going to go for. I'm going to go for the Detroit Lions trading for a defensive end. I am going to stay like that until we get our guy. Now check this out. I wanted to say this too. This is, and I've said this a lot, it is imperative. The next 72 hours to me could really dictate the foreseeable future of this franchise. Let me tell you what I mean. And I won't hold you long, but let me tell you what I mean. The fact that after the NFL trade deadline, you have to basically rely on the waiver wire. A lot of things have to align for somebody to trickle all the way down to the Detroit Lions of substantial value. I don't think it's going to happen. Depending on what kind of guy you are, what kind of reputation you have, and what your contract looks like, that will determine whether or not you clear waivers. So if let's say somebody of substantial value they have a higher contract, but their character is good, they clear waivers because of the contract, then they can go sign wherever they want. And after that, After the NFL trade deadline, that's the only way we have to do it. But here's why I think it's gonna be the 72 hours is gonna be a determining factor of the foreseeable future. Like, this is how far I think. After the NFL trade deadline, you can't trade anymore. Everything's basically shut down to the end of the season. When the season is over, like this season, it's going to be the last time. Remember, Dan Campbell was all emotional a couple years ago when we lost to an NFC Championship game, and he was like, "This is the last time these guys are going to be together." And everybody was like, "Oh, what is he?" And he was right. We lost Josh Reynolds after that. We lost a lot of guys after that. This is the last year for a lot of people. And DJ Reader might not be back, right? All the people that Brad drafted at the first draft, those people, Levi, Pascal, those guys are going to be gone. The defensive line, to me, is going to be overhauled. We're going to lose probably Alex Anzalone. We missed out on getting Josh Reynolds and others rings by the two, in the 2023 season and 4 season respectively. Now we're going to lose more pieces, and this is the last year that these guys are most likely going to be together. On top of the work that we have to do on the defensive line, the work that we have to do potentially other places as well, with the offensive line replacing Taylor Decker, no doubt, this is going to be the last year for a lot of this. And I think that on top of the contracts that need to be signed, this is it for this kind of, we lost Frank Ragnow. So we lost Frank Ragnow. He does not have a ring. So at best, he'll get like an honorary ring. He'll get, you know what? I helped build that team. I was almost there. So I'm thinking a lot of stuff is going to change next year. This would be a great time to seize this opportunity. We're a good team now. Good team. We don't have the pick of the litter. We don't have to say to Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham doesn't have to say it. I'm just using him as an example because we were first when he was cut in the waiver wire. And he was like, "Oh, I'll retire before you play there." And you know what's funny? You ain't playing now. That's funny. Now, he did go to the LA Rams and win a Super Bowl, so I guess it worked out. But I would much rather the Lions sign Jordan, Justin Simmons, or somebody from this list or go poach somebody off a practice squad, put him to the 53, than to use draft capital on a safety. That's just me. Anyway, this channel is made possible by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. It's because of your support I get to do what I do. You could be anywhere else on YouTube, but you choose to rock with me. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.